is the head coach of the girls basketball team and a graduate of Asheville High School back in 1984. That being Dale Beason, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Coach, you've had a pretty good career on the court and especially off the court. You've picked up well over 200 wins as a coach here at Asheville. You had a pretty good playing career back in the mid-'80s. Talk about yourself as a player. If you want to brag a little bit, you're more than welcome to, but talk about yourself as a player and basketball back in the middle 80s.
When I was in the middle 80s, we had a B team and an A team, much like we do now, but the difference was we had 24 on the B team and we had 15 on the A team. So we had a lot of jam in the gym, and we all practiced together. And if you wanted to get on the floor, you had to do something, and just to get playing time during practice, not especially during the game, but just to get playing time during practice, you had to do something. So our B team was really competitive. We were 22-0 my sophomore year, and then we were 16-0, and before I got moved up about midway through my junior season. And my senior year, we didn't have very good leadership. I'm telling off on myself. And we struggled through our senior year. You know, and we could not figure out how did we beat these people as sophomores and juniors, and they've turned it around on us, and now they're beating us. But, you know, we were not good leaders in the locker room.
Now, you've had some good coaches along the way. I know you've been around Coy Smith a lot, Raymond Farmer, Larry Tuart. Talk about the impact those guys have made on you.
Well, Coach Smith, he actually retired the year before I started playing basketball here, and that was a disappointment. You know, being able to, or looking forward to being able to play for him, and then he retired. But I did play for Coach Farmer, played football for Coach Farmer and B-team basketball, and it was an experience. It was hard. He pushed you to your limit. He found out how good, or you pushed yourself, found out how good you could be. Also played for Coach Tuart. Coach Tuart's a good man. He was the varsity coach the 3 years that I played varsity basketball, and I just wish we had done a little bit better with what we had. You know, and that, like I said, that goes back to what we had in the locker room was not a good situation.
And you mentioned the B team, and you guys had a pretty good record when on the junior varsity team under Farmer. I think Farmer won a lot of games in a row, I believe.
Yeah, it was incredible there. My 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, I think he lost 2 games.
Wow.
Which I was part of a season and a half of that. And we didn't lose any. I think we were 38-0 on the B team.
That's a pretty good record.
Yes.
Now, of course, you graduated here from Asheville. You go on to college and everything. You took your first coaching gig over at Steele, I believe?
Yeah, Coach Mattison, she had the volleyball team and basketball team there, and volleyball is her game. So she had asked me if I wanted to come and help. And that was right after my accident, and I told her I'd come and help till the season started, and then I would kind of just fade out. But 26 years later, here I am still coaching girls basketball.
And you've done a pretty good job at it. Of course, then you went on to be the coach at Springville.
Yes.
Now, graduating from Asheville and going to coach at Springville, those two schools don't get along really well. But talk about going to being the head coach at Springville and then coming back here and playing and coaching at Asheville.
Well, there was some situations that happened that, you know, I was always motivated to come back here and do well. So our teams were real competitive, and it's just like now, you know. We hate to lose to Springfield, and that's just the way it is. the way it always will be. And that's the same at Springville. They hate to lose to Asheville. Now, with the rivalry, it's kind of dwindled a little bit here in the recent years because we have not played as much football, but it's still Asheville Springville. Mm-hmm. It's still green and white versus purple and white. So.
I think the rivalry will continue for the next 50 to 100 years.
Oh,
As long as both schools are both there, I think that'll always be there.
Absolutely.
Now, you talked about you helping out Mattison. Talk about the cooperation that you two guys have to help each other out in volleyball and in basketball. Because y'all, wherever people see you, there's Mattison. Wherever people see Mattison, there you are.
Well, I think having a united front and being on the same page when it comes to conditioning and preparing teams, and we don't have the same ideas as far as sometimes during game situations, but that's a good thing because if we thought alike, then there would be no. We bounce ideas off each other, and sometimes she'll like an idea, or sometimes I don't like an idea. Sometimes we don't, but that's what makes it work. Because when you're playing all these other teams with these great coaches, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to go against these teams with these great athletes and great coaches. We've had our great athletes, and so it's a good thing, that cooperation that goes into it.
Now, toward the end of your coaching stint at Springville, I've talked to several people, and I've heard this from several people. When Mama calls you home, you come home. Asheville gave you the call and said, there was a job opening here. What went through your mind when you came back to Asheville to be the head coach?
Well, I was comfortable where I was at Springville. I worked for some great people and worked with some great people. The kids were great. But this was an opportunity to be able to coach varsity basketball. And I've always wanted to see if I could handle that challenge. And this was my opportunity. So I had to take it.
And when you got here, any coach can say this. It always starts with usually a couple of core players to start to build that foundation for the future. Talk about your first team and those seniors that you had.
Well, those seniors helped lay the foundation. I was told by 2 or 3, 4 or 5 people when I got here, hey, you'll be lucky to win 5 games. And I was like, okay, we'll see. Andrea Smith and Leanna Sanders and Amanda Richardson were our seniors that year, and they had not had a lot of experience playing. They had watched a lot, and that year they had the opportunity, and they were kind of like me. They were given the opportunity, and they made the most of it. And they had some great players, or soon-to-be great players, coming along. And I feel like they laid the foundation, and they were the ones that I think because of what we did that first year, we have been able to do since.
You, of course, you talk about this place. You've had numerous other great players and good players come through this school. Destiny Lane being one of them, who's the all-time leading scorer here at Asheville. Talk about her and having her as a player.
She worked harder than any girl that I've ever coached at the game of basketball to make her skills as good as she could make them. Not only would she practice an hour and a half, 2 hours here, she would go home and practice another couple hours.
And she had her brother was pretty good at basketball too.
Oh yeah, I mean she had that background, and a lot of it you didn't have to push her. She wanted to do it. I mean that was her thing, and it was when you go into a game and have her on your side, it's a lot better to have her on your side than it would have been to look across the court and see her playing against you.
You've had other players, of course, Autumn Swearingen and Katie Howard. Just a bunch of good athletes to come play through here.
Right.
Talk about all those players you've had.
Autumn is a special player, just from the fact of her competitiveness and just how she approached the game. Then we had Emery Cater, one of the toughest players we've ever had here. Holly Brown, same thing, tough. We've not had too many basketball players, so to speak. We've had hard-nosed players that played the game of basketball. And hopefully we can get both of those as we go into the future. We can get hard-nosed players plus be good basketball players that will work on their game. You know, if we had that mix, I think we could break through at Jackson. And that, I feel like that's been part of the problem, or it's not a problem, but been part of the
obstacle.
Right, obstacle. When we get to Jacksonville, that we have hard-nosed players, but at the game of basketball, we're not as accomplished as some of these other teams that we play.
And of course, there is life after basketball. A lot of these girls that you've coached and mentored have went on to sign scholarships to colleges, to universities. Talk about what you and Mattison do to these girls to get them prepared for life after basketball.
They have to work hard to be part of our team, and I think part of the work ethic that we instill in them, and that they come to us with. I mean, their parents do a great job of instilling that work ethic, and then hopefully me and Coach Mattison push them that little bit extra, and hopefully we have some part of that. We're part of that solution as far as them being able to sign scholarships, but it takes three parts. It's the parents, the players, and the coaches, and you know, if all three of those are working in the same direction, then hopefully they'll have a shot if that's what they want to do. You know, we've had some players that could have signed scholarships and didn't, so but it just depends on what they want.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate you coming on. A lot of people consider you a legend here at Asheville. You got 200 plus victories in your coaching career at Asheville. What's that number exactly? 200 and
I have no idea.
We'll have to pull out the record books and start counting again.
Yeah, it's I think it's close to 215 or something. I don't know. It's close to that. It's not the exact number.
Coach, you've had a great career on and off the court, and I really do appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you. I mean, this is I can't wait to see the tape as far as the other coaches that you've interviewed.
It's good. I can tell you that. It's good.
I will be